Welcome back, everyone. The music is too loud. You're getting screamed at by ghouls. Oh no. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to Hearts of Iron 4 Mod Spotlight Old World Blues. Basically, what we have... No, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to turn down the ghouls, and yet I shut them down. What we have here is the 3.0 update, the so-called Monster of the East. Now, the last major update for Old World Blues added Mexico, and now they added Texas, fittingly enough. Of course, Mexico and Texas, always known to be best amigos and all that. And, like, look at this look at this shit. Hearts of Iron 4. Like, Hearts of Iron 4, hello? Like, what is this fucking production value? Where was this in 2016? Where was this in 2016? I don't know. It's fucking production value. It's fucking amazing, incredible. They realized they are actually good at developing. Anyway, so the mod's last update adds a whole bunch of shit to Texas, essentially, and also a few things to other areas of the world, and also some mechanics. Everybody loves mechanics. They last added the core states and the bottle cap economy. Now, the bottle cap economy has been sort of revamped a little bit. There's more things that you can do with the bottle caps. There's more limitations from the economy. For example, like armies cost more bottle caps, and so it's a little bit more difficult to actually just like abuse certain things, and like that also limits the AI's ability to just spam units, and that's obviously good. They added intelligence agencies. Obviously, you know, that was Hearts of Iron 4's last DLC, La Resistance's edition, but they added it now to Old World Blues with like lore friendly elements and a few revamped mechanics to more fit the Fallout universe and all that. Have they changed the tech tree at all? Well, they oh shit, they actually removed wait, hold on. No, that's impossible. No, come on. That is not like... There was supposed to be another tab here. Yeah, there we go. Damn! You can see that with some countries, and you cannot see that with others. All right, so they added this whole tribal tree. Of course, this is a pre-release version that the developers gave me. So this is a preview. It's not completely done, but it's gonna be out on Friday. So it's basically it's playable. It's just got some things that need refining. So there's a whole tribal tree that's essentially like technology before the rest of the technologies if you're a tribal country, and I think that's how it's supposed to work. And yeah, it's basically what you'd expect, I guess. And countries that aren't tribal cannot get these technologies, of course, because they are not they are much more likely to be civilized and advanced than tribal countries, so they can just research better tech later on. Anyway, the land doctrines are still the same. The specialized doctrines are still the same, except they've, I think, added this outsider warfare. I'm pretty sure this wasn't around before. This is the doctrines for mutant armies, and this is very, very welcome because, as we'll see in the Texas area, we have a lot of very interesting mutant factions, and so having them be more playable is great. Wow, look at those like look at those sprites over here for the fucking Cien 85 fighter. Damn. One thing that I always appreciated about Old World Blues is the fact that they always put a lot of effort into the graphical side of things. They don't like leaving things in like a, I suppose you could say, placeholder state. Yeah, these are the same as they used to be. Of course, this is the difference. The fucking Garys. I'm not sure when they're gonna actually like make, you know, icons for the naval weapons, the naval modules. But also, by the way, look at these. This is almost like Equestria at War. Is another mod that has excellent visuals, and yeah, I definitely enjoy it. Actually, wow, Voltec infrastructure. Yeah, apparently they've also added unique industry. I always love unique industry. Yeah, I always love industry. Period. Just gotta have the better industry. And of course, engineering is the same. So they've revamped a few sections of the tech tree, but it's mostly about it. Of course, they've added a lot of unique things, which is always good. I really love how I really love how they have unique tech for certain factions, which better represents. Wait, is that robotic horses? Four-legged creatures of legend. That looks like a robotic horse. And the mini nukes and the shell batches. So there's more reward technologies which are obtained through events and focus tree, etc. And the robots are pretty much the same. The vehicles are pretty much the same. The support weapons are pretty much the same. So a few revamps to the tech tree. The big mechanics shift though is with trade and again with the economy. Look at this shit. Just fucking look at this. Holy shit. What like brother, where, like, my god, like, please, like, how good is this? Like, look at this shit. These are trade nodes. It's like EU4. So basically the way it works is it calculates a certain amount of value for a trade node based, I'm guessing, on population, industry, and the likes. And then you can make connections between trade nodes, one trade route per trade node, and then it gives you a value that's going to be added straight into your income. Now, this is not like a primary thing like in EU4. It's not like a primary mechanic. It's not what you're sort of building the game around. Of course, it's still Hearts of Iron 4. It's still a secondary mechanic, but it's impressive as fuck. Also, because these trade nodes, like, you see them on this, like, secondary GUI map, but you can also see them on the actual map. When you click on the provinces that are sort of connected to a single trade node, that belong to a single trade node, you can bring up this UI by clicking these little arrows over here, and it's going to show you the amount of development which goes into the development value, which goes into your money, and the trade value, of course. You see the infrastructure that I think goes into development. You see the progress, which is the progress towards promotion, aka increasing the level of the trade node, which increases the development. And you see the factories that are belonging to the trade node, and you see the states that are belonging to the trade node. Now, this also means that when things happen to the states, there's also events that can happen that give modifiers to the states, or maybe they're getting occupied. Then the trade node is being affected by this. So, for example, there is, like, I don't know, an event about, like, mutant infestations or whatever, and that's going to affect the trade node and reduce your income. If you're getting occupied, then the trade node loses effectiveness. There's all these, like, interesting little interactions, I guess. I think it's got most potential actually for multiplayer purposes, funnily enough. But yeah. Speaking of which, go onto my Discord. I'm organizing an MP for this weekend, if you're watching at release date of the video. Basically, this is like the big, like, POG moment, I guess. There's also the organizations that have been revamped a little bit. Now, organizations are trade companies, essentially, that you can buy things from. It's a way to use your money, essentially. So, for example, if we go to Shady Sands, we see that in the Shady Sands trade node, we have the established organization of the Gun Runners. So, you saw earlier that when Kaiser's Legion, when playing as Kaiser's Legion, we didn't have, like, anything pop up in this UI here. But now we see that the Gun Runners are here, and we can buy equipment off of them. Now, if I take a look at the trade node map, Actually, it would be nice if. Oh, right, you can click on the little shield over here and go to the single trade node. Now, can I just make you fuck off? Yeah. It would be nice to see actually a list of all the organizations. Because if you had a list of all the organizations, you'd see what the different ones do. But like, for example, when I was playing as Lanius' cohort on stream, as this faction that we're going to talk about in a little bit, it was really great because I got this organization working in my trade node that allowed me to buy motorized. And that's not something that I get to use all too often in this mod, so obviously it was welcome. It was welcome, and it's a way to diversify your playstyle, of course. And yeah, it's kind of just cool as a whole. Again, I wish I could see just a whole list of them. It would be kind of nice. I wonder what the trade nodes look like down here. Yeah, I don't see any organizations down here. Oh my god. Man, how's the fucking oil refinery not a trade node? Lol. But this one is. I don't know. So that's basically about it for the whole trade stuff. It's really cool. I like it. So let's actually get to like tags, focus trees, and maps, which is obviously what everyone is sort of always on about. Now there's a few minor changes. To the northwest, nothing really major, I suppose. The Washington Brotherhood has a little bit of a more difficult start, but they still always basically win regardless. Yeah, this is basically about it for the northwest, but like the interesting things start to happen when we get down to the southeast. So there's a ton of new factions in the sort of what is even like Colorado, like this area, like the Colorado area. It's got a ton of fleshed out like generic countries, I suppose, like minor countries, minor tags down here. But we've got a couple of tags actually with focus trees, like the Ouroboros, which is all about like sort of being edgy and trying to kill the Legion, because yeah, these people just like despise the Legion, and they've got this whole weird leader who's kind of nuts, basically. Yeah, kind of basically super nuts. Speaking of nuts leaders, there's the Twin Mothers, which is led by a pre-war scientist who went kind of insane because she was uploaded onto a computer, essentially. Like her brain got uploaded onto a computer. And so now she is given the task from like basically from the pre-war period to look after something called the nursery, which is a sort of hidden like garden to like rebuild essentially the environment after a possible nuclear war, as like most things in Fallout are, like just a hidden plot before the war to like do things after the war. And she's got this sort of twin gameplay again with the nursery, which has a whole shitload of mechanics in your decisions, essentially, which get sort of unlocked as time goes on. And also there's if we go to the nursery, there's all these fucking mechanics. It's insane. Basically, you're managing this whole thing, this whole sort of mini game. At the same time, you're managing the actual country of the Twin Mothers, and basically it's the right side of the focus tree as opposed to the left side of the focus tree, which is about the nursery. And then in the middle, you get to either simp for Lanius and the Legion, or trying to fight the Legion, which I suppose is the more like normal option, I believe. It's the one that I think would make the most sense for this kind of, for the role play, I suppose. I don't know. I don't get it. I believe Navajo the Navajo Nation, have a focus tree now that's sort of... They are at the beginning a subordinate of the Legion, and so they're trying to form this Dineta country. And that's basically like taking over most of the area around here, and they can do that basically while being subordinates of the Legion. So I suppose this is like one of those more rare countries where you're not like supposed to like take over everything. You're sort of supposed to be an ally of someone else. So that's the two big ones in the sort of Colorado area. The other big one is the Hang Dogs. Fucking Dog City over here. I believe Denver is the... Yeah, I believe this is Denver in real life. Here it's called Dog City. It's funny because basically there's this gang called the Hang Dogs who are doing gang shit, right? And then they open the box, which is this, I suppose, AI in Denver. And there's a whole bunch of shit that can happen from that. They can even rename reclaim Colorado after, well, okay, that's I guess if the funny robot takes over, if the funny police brutality robot takes over. I won't spoil it if you want to play as the Hang Dogs. But there's basically a police brutality robot that tries to put down the evil criminals. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting places, like these two Chinese tribes for some reason. There's two Chinese tribes up here. I'm not sure why, but there's a bunch of, again, interesting miners, the luminous ones or whatever, that don't have focus trees yet, but might become interesting at some point. Of course, Robot City under Doki Doki Literature Club for some fucking reason. I don't know. Some Brotherhood people. Bunch of tribes. The Chained Choir, which is super creepy. It's gonna have, I think, a focus tree eventually. It's like a psychic faction of, like, again, pre-war experiments. Then there's the fucking National Guard from Oklahoma making an appearance. The Cherokees and the Chickasaw, Muskegees, and Choctaws, which are under a sort of Native American EU, the Great Plains Federation, that can reunite. I believe they have like a kind of shared focus trees. Focus tree. These definitely look like things that are sort of shared between them. Makato, Achille. I'm not sure why I'm talking about. I'm not sure why I'm talking about being like I'm talking in Spanish-ish accent when they're Native Americans. I don't know. Are you at least a little bit different? Yeah, you've definitely got a different part of the tree down here. Yeah, you've also got some different focuses. Oh, science without restraint! Oh my god. They can do COVID-19. Bruh. Holy shit. Like, the Cherokees are pretty based. And then eventually they can reunite the state of Sequoia, which I suppose is pretty cool. Pretty cool that they can do that. And then there's a ton of different tags, basically, that aren't all too interesting. Where it gets interesting is basically Texas and Lanius' cohort. Now, I suppose I'm going to save Lanius' cohort for last because along with the Mojave territories, it is kind of a unique thing. Because obviously this is just the Legion, except they've split the Legion into two tags, just like they split the NCR into two tags with the territories. So we're going to get into that later on. Now, in this sort of Texas area, the main faction, the main power block is the Texan Brotherhood, or the Texan Economic Union, mostly led by the Texan Brotherhood, which is based off of the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel game. Basically, it's a Brotherhood that's more open to, well, having a brain. Because in the Fallout lore, obviously, the Brotherhood is like a sort of seclusive hereditary order that's trying to hoard all the knowledge and all the technology so that everyone else that's not them is not going to quote unquote misuse it, aka we just want to be the best. There's both elements of like the selfish brotherhood and like the we just want to guard like against another possibility of like the massive wars. But the Texan Brotherhood is like, yeah, that sounds kind of dumb, because if we just like do not recruit other people, then eventually we're gonna dwindle and die. And so they basically build this kind of state. And they, in their focus tree, they can come down and reform Texas, essentially. They're the Texas Unifier faction, and they've got this 2 nations, 1 system. Fucking 1 country, 2 systems, except reverse, I suppose, which is about their federation, their Texas Economic Union. And their allies in the Texas Economic Union are the Lone Star State, or the Lone Star Republic, I suppose, which is... It can either go pro-Legion or pro-Brotherhood. Basically, they are... Yeah, and at the end, if for some reason the other... the other tag hasn't built provisional Texas, they can declare provisional Texas. But they can also expand to other tags such as the Tube Heads, which is a kind of like it's kind of TV like TVocracy. I'm not sure is Mr. Entertainment over here. It's such a very Fallout thing. The Carthaginians, I believe, just get destroyed all the time. They can't be invited in, and they're based in Carthage, Texas. Americans just love stealing names. They can also, I believe, invite in the Houston Rockets, which are essentially like a weird gang that's collaborating with basically the Houston Space Center, I believe. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird shit that's still placeholder, so like the full tree is going to be completed a little bit later. And also I believe the Houston Rockets are like a football team. I don't know. They've got the Houston governing body basically as a leader. They've got the building leader. Everyone loves the building leader. And then the other major player within the economic union is the Unity of Austin, which is a splinter of a part of the mutant army that ran away from California after the events of Fallout 1 with the Master and all that. They get all the way to Texas. They fight the Texan Brotherhood, which is the reason why there's a Brotherhood here, is that they followed this mutant army. They fight. The Unity loses. And there's 3 Unity factions, 3 mutant factions. There's Shale's army, there's the Ironmongers, and the Unity of Austin. Now, the Unity of Austin is a bit like the... what is it called in Fallout New Vegas? I fucking forget. Jacobstown. It's a bit like Jacobstown, where essentially this leader of the mutants is trying to pursue integration with the other sort of... the other species, I suppose. Are the mutants just like a different species? I don't know. They're pursuing integration with the humans and the ghouls, essentially. Although there aren't really like any ghoul factions in Texas, are there? Well, there's the last patrol, but that's Oklahoma. These are ghouls, and everyone loves the ghouls. I guess the Pursuant, although these are just like a gang. So yeah. Yep, I suppose no ghouls for you. And yeah, basically they're not the most interesting, but they can also declare the provisional Texas Republic, which switches to a new tree. Although I've never seen the Texas tree, so I'm not sure how cool it is. Okay. But of course, like within, this is still like a brotherhood, right? So they're still like factions within the Texan Brotherhood that are super xenophobic, and that's the Alamo faction based in the south of Texas, whose main objective is actually like to guard against the weird menaces from Mexico, like Santa Ana, who is very much revamped and much more interesting. He is much more focused on expanding north, obviously because now there are tags north for him to expand into. So Santa Ana is actually a bigger player than in the Mexico update. So basically, they're all about like, well, the Alamo faction within the Texan Brotherhood is more about like being xenophobic, and there is no part in the focus tree about them because basically, they can either arise because of the "we have been betrayed" focus, which happens essentially when the Lone Star goes pro-Legion. I'm not quite sure why that would cause... Yeah, I'm not sure why that would cause the betrayal all the time. I think it should just give you the option to do that, because it's basically turning into a normal brotherhood. You leave the Texan Economic Union, and you quote-unquote give the Alamo chapter military access. Now, I'm not sure if like the Alamo chapter is going to be spawned all the time that you're doing that, but I don't know. And yeah, I just spoiled it. So basically, the Alamo chapter can break away from the Texan Brotherhood almost every game they do, and then there's a whole struggle about that. Now, the other two mutant factions are basically the ones that are more true to the sort of unity ideology. Shale's army is a more regular, quote unquote, just super mutant army. But they can do a funny thing, which is setting up the shop tech terminal. Sounds pretty fucking hilarious. Cybernetic super mutants sounds interesting. And then there's a secret vault, which gives you even more like funny things to do, essentially. And eventually, either you're gonna try to remake the mutant army, or you're gonna die. While the Ironmongers are essentially just like people who love driving around and like weapons, I suppose. They're just the orcs. They're just the orcs from Warhammer 40k. They've even got like a right tool for that job. I think they've got the little funny spelling, like the battle wagon, you know. Yeah. I would love for there to be more of the funny spelling, I suppose, because it's just their identity, I guess. I don't know. And they can go down and conquer the Rio Grande, I suppose. That's them. And again, all these free mutant factions, their main objective is to reunite all the mutants, except for different goals. The Unity of Austin wants to integrate them into Greater Texas. The Shale's army just wants to be a normal sort of Legacy of the Master type deal, while the Ironmonger is just like funny, like machines that blow people up. While the Texan Arms Association is a tag that also existed in the previous iteration of Old World Blues. It was a breakaway from the Republic of the Rio Grande, but now they are alive at spawn, and they're basically ANCAPs with private power armor. How great! If you own the Great Silo, apparently you can get recreational nukes. What is even the Great Silo? Yes, somehow, if you can survive and come down to the Great Silo, you get 2 nukes, and they're private McNukes. And well, if your subscription does not run out, then you can seriously fuck up some people who violate the NAP. So that's basically them. These are the new Texas tags that they're the selling point of this update. But they've also added a few new things to the sort of mainstay of the Fallout universe, which is the NCR, the Legion, and the New Vegas area. With the New Vegas area, they've added the Divide instead of like Hopeville and Ashton used to be two different tags. I'm pretty sure they've added the Divide, which is like the weird thing, the weird like thing in the Old World Blues DLC. And basically everyone's trying to take over this place. They're led by Ulysses. I'm sure gonna have a focus tree at some point. It's gonna be like insane and all that. And you're gonna be able to do funny things. Yeah, of course. But like by far the most important. Well, actually, there's also another really funny thing, which is the new Mojave chapter focus tree. Now, Elijah's. Now, these are Brotherhood guys, in case you don't know, just like the Brotherhood of Steel, except they're even more isolationist. They're just kind of holed up in their little bunkers, and they're trying to restore this basically solar power plant that's not only a solar power plant, known as Helios 1. Now, in the past, the Mojave chapter's focus tree used to be most interesting when you played as Elijah, the sort of elder of this chapter, and they've really gone sort of all in with that, and yeah, basically, it was most interesting because it was all about like restoring this Helios 1, the super weapon, because spoiler alert, it's not just a solar power plant; it's also like a weird laser targeting system that's linked to a laser satellite in space known as Archimedes. And it's just cool, you know? And that combined with the fact that this is a tiny faction, except they've got possible access to a bunch of like really, really advanced weapons because they're the Brotherhood, and they've got this like crazy thing with Helios 1, and in general, Elijah's just incredibly obsessed, even more than normal Brotherhood people. He's super obsessed with finding out things from the old world technology, especially like, again, technology, weapons, these kinds of things. So basically, the whole beginning of the game as the new focus tree of the Mojave chapter is locked in a conflict with the Mojave territories of the NCR, which are independent of the NCR, except they're the NCR. They're part of the faction known as the NCR, but they don't call in the NCR to any wars. They can't do that, so that the super overpowered NCR doesn't get distracted in a random war around here, and it doesn't make life too difficult for the tags around here, while it doesn't like distract this AI too much so that like other random countries just destroy the NCR, which is a very, very clever thing, in my opinion. Very, very cleverino fingerino. And yeah, so that's basically about that for them. So they have this fight over Helios 1. If you win, you get to go down a massive fucking focus tree that's a kind of like TNO tree. I'm not sure if I'm using this like, if I'm just like doing a stupid, but it's a bit like TNO in that it's a lot about like the sort of storytelling of basically Elijah's character. And yeah, basically he does a bunch of funny things, and it's super hilarious. The gala event, there's just a bunch of crazy shit going on down there, and I hope to play it at some point because it sounds like a lot of fun. Now, the Mojave territories themselves, other than the conflict with the Brotherhood, they have got basically the whole Legion problem to deal with. The Battle of Hoover Dam. Fallout New Vegas. It's all about that. So that's basically what the Mojave territories are about, is to hold on to the Mojave for the NCR. And if Yeah, basically, if the Legion starts to become like bad, then the conflict with the whole NCR happens. If not, it's just a limited war with the Mojave territories, which makes things a little bit more self-contained. Now, this is mirrored by Lanius's cohort, which is a tag over here for the Legion. That's the Legion, but it's independent from the Legion, and they're supposed to go around and conquering the Texas area. Now, basically, their focus tree is super cool because it's all about like sort of assimilating all the people that they're taking over, and basically just taking shit over and being fun, because that's what the Legion always is. And of course, Lanius is like just a super cool fucker, you know? He looks cool, he sounds cool, he's cool. And they've even added the reservation, which is this, I think it's a weird thing from Fallout 2. So that's a ghoul faction. And they're in Los Alamos, of course. Fucking Los Alamos. I remember them from the Fallout mod in Darkest Tower, Hearts of Iron game, where for some reason they just had like a shitload of resources in Los Alamos, but they were a super weak faction, so they were like a great thing to rush. Like if you were playing at all in this area, you'd just always rush these motherfuckers and take them down. Anyway. Yeah, there's also the other funny tag, which is the Blue Rose Society, which is XCOM. Yeah. XCOM. Fucking XCOM. I'm not sure why there's XCOM. I mean, of course, it's Roswell, so it's a funny alien joke. And they've got bonus combat against the Zetans. Can you even do an alien invasion in Old World Blues? I know that you can do the alien invasion in Kaiserreich, but yeah, whatever. If there's the alien invasion and the Zetans invade, then you better hope that the cohort hasn't eaten the Blue Rose Society, so that they actually kill the aliens. I don't know. I don't fucking even know anymore. So that's basically about that. I believe they've also kind of revamped some of the Legion focus tree. Yeah, even like look at these icons. They're just like so epic. And there's even railways. Railways! Incredible. I love railways. The Phoenix King. Aurelius Phoenix is the current country leader. Okay, sure. Huh. Yeah, basically, what's going on over here is that they've added a lot of new options after Caesar possibly dies. Very, very likely he dies, except there is also a path where he can be healed. Because if we go tag over to the Legion... if we tag over to the Legion, there's a new mechanic for them. That's basically Caesar's like mental health, I suppose. Nah, maybe not even mental. Oh shit, he doesn't have. Yeah, for now he's healthy. Basically, there's a bunch of things that can happen. Oh, the Amiki of the Legion, Pog, load order battle CS Navajo. Oh, so you can just like. Nice. You can just like do a bunch of things about the sort of Legion sphere. I suppose that's what you could call it. Nice. Oh, and there's a whole slavery mechanic because, of course, it's also this slavery mechanic is a thing for every slaving faction, not just the Legion. And subsidized puppets. Interesting. Butcher's Pete. What the fuck? I guess there's an organization here. Wait, what? Oh my god. Huh, Puppet Ledger. Interesting. I don't generally use puppets, so that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the fuck he saw the organization here. Yeah, he doesn't actually have it, but oh well. What was I looking at? Yeah, okay. Basically, if we come down here, there's a lot of different possible Vulcan extremism. There's a lot of different possible outcomes for the Legion. Even the Malpaeus Legate, who is, shit, I don't, fuck, I don't have him right now. Who is the burned man in Fallout New Vegas. Basically, he used to be a Legion guy, and he can, like, win the sort of power struggle in the Legion if you win the battle for Hoover Dam. And yeah, there's even the Vulcan fucking extremism. That sounds very interesting. Basically, I suppose that's like trying to industrialize the Legion and like making it also a technological faction. I don't know. That sounds really epic. Like, look at this, the Martian legions. There's nothing wrong with using power armor, bruh. Like, just bruh, because like the Legion at the beginning has a lot of negative modifiers to make sure that it's not super OP, and most of that is like tech malices. They're supposed to be like kind of not Luddites, but like more more skeptical of technology. The Eternal Empire. And, yeah. The Bloodied Bull. So this is all the whole NCR things you can push on to the west and trying to come down, you know, move west to slay the Titans is to move down to Mexico, and take point in Utah is take over this area, essentially north. So there's all the different expansion directions. It's just like fucking massive, you know? Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Huh. Interesting. And again, it's kind of nice. I like it. It's really interesting. So, yeah, that's about it. Old World Blues 3.0. If I missed anything and you're the mod developer or someone who just is somehow really super fucking obsessed with Old World Blues, then please do not kill me. Or 1v1, you know, at a time of my choosing, at a place of your choosing, I don't know. Swords only. And yeah, so I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.